In May 2026, the media descended on Gigi Hadid with a familiar, blinding intensity. The tabloids had zeroed in on her solo walk at the Met Gala. The absence of Bradley Cooper ignited an immediate flurry of speculation about a quiet breakup. But the relationship speculation was quickly eclipsed by a completely different kind of corporate whisper circulating through 7th Avenue. Industry insiders began reporting that Hadid was being tapped for a top leadership role at American Vogue, positioning her to inherit the immense editorial legacy of Anna Wintour. Historically, the suggestion that a runway model would step into the supreme executive seat at fashion's most prestigious publication would be dismissed as pure fiction. Whether the whisper was factually accurate didn't matter. What mattered was that both Wall Street and top fashion executives considered the move entirely plausible. The market credibility of the Vogue rumor establishes high society gossip as a measurable macroeconomic indicator of corporate authority. For decades, the celebrity endorsement model was straightforward. Stars rented their audiences to legacy luxury houses in exchange for a flat fee. That system is fracturing. Consumers are exhausted by unearned influence, driving severe fatigue around nepotism and causing highly visible fractures in legacy deals like the Beckham brand. To survive, the new guard of public figures is executing a corporate pivot, moving away from temporary licensing toward hard equity and business ownership. Hadid illustrates this shift perfectly. She has transitioned from operating as a highly paid mannequin to functioning as a standalone business mogul commanding the room. Social capital has become a tangible financial asset, requiring the exact same analytical rigor as a Q1 earnings report. By late November, the streets of New York City become a high-stakes financial arena for modern brand architecture. Hadid executes a calculated layering strategy, pairing campaign hero items from legacy houses like Miu Miu or Schiaparelli directly with cashmere pieces from her own label, Guest in Residence. Under a standard contract, a legacy brand pays a celebrity to carry their product, relying on the resulting paparazzi coverage to drive consumer sales. This forms the initial stage of the capital funnel. The corporate capital pushes toward media outlets to generate coverage. Hadid hijacks this exact funnel. She uses the paparazzi coverage funded by her luxury partners to organically highlight her fully owned venture. This alignment creates a closed loop. The global campaign platform of the legacy brand amplifies her image, directing prestige and profit straight back into her independent equity. Through this dual brand ecosystem, legacy competitors are unwittingly subsidizing the marketing budget for her independent empire. This strategy exploits a specific vulnerability in the wider luxury market in 2026. Look at this chart detailing Q1 2026 earnings. Revenue for Kering's Gucci plunged 8%, signaling a severe contraction for legacy giants. These massive organizations are struggling to maintain revenue because their sheer size makes them inflexible to rapidly changing consumer demands. They rely on classical corporate structures, rigid, top-down hierarchies that centralize authority and stifle agility. Independent, celebrity-founded fashion networks operate in stark contrast, moving with extreme speed to capitalize on shifting market trends. In a hyper-volatile environment, a heavy classical corporate structure is a liability, creating a profitable vacuum for agile founders to secure market share. Academic research into fashion leadership, such as Eliza Manucut's analysis, isolates exactly why this classical model is failing. Centralizing decision-making into a small group of executives introduces biases that limit a company's ability to evolve and adapt to its demographic. Hadid employs what researchers define as transformational leadership, an approach that unifies teams by emphasizing flexibility, shared vision, and social innovation. She proved this concept years earlier during her Tommy Hilfiger collaboration. By injecting a youthful, sustainable vision into a rigid hierarchy, the Tommy x Gigi line drove double-digit sales growth for 2 consecutive seasons. Now she applies that exact framework to Guest in Residence, scaling it not as a top-down corporation, but as a decentralized, intention-led network. This transition toward transformational leadership provides the specific structural agility needed to capture shifting consumer desires in real time. This brings us back to the explosive American Vogue rumor for early 2026 and the actual timeline of events at Condé Nast. A complete replacement never occurred. Anna Wintour retained her roles as Chief Content Officer and Global Editorial Director. The US edition did undergo a leadership change, but the head of editorial content role went to Chloe Malley. While the media fixated on editorial gossip, Hadid was executing physical, boardroom-level expansion. In late 2024, she opened a second guest-in-residence flagship store on Beverly Drive, executing a quiet, methodical expansion of her retail footprint. The details of the Vogue rumor were incorrect, but the market's willingness to believe it confirms a critical shift. The industry now recognizes her executive authority. Hadid utilized her appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon to deliver a corporate address directly to the consumer market. She wore a powder blue leather button-down from Tom Ford's Fall 2025 collection. This specific styling choice rejected standard late-night glamour in favor of deliberate, executive power dressing. Channeling this distinct executive energy, she commanded the narrative, keeping the entire focus strictly on her brand's new spring collection. Hadid is executing a long-term strategy of brand architecture, while the old guard of influencers remain stuck negotiating flat fee contracts. Architectural ownership of a brand provides a level of structural security that a traditional endorsement deal cannot replicate.